Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started. Rao, as I understand it, you have some technical updates.
Yes, I do. I'm going to paste the link here in the chat for the community update and share my screen. I think everybody should be seeing my screen with community update 113 right now.
Yes.
Okay. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. So we have released released 0924. Currently, we're running it on testnet. Mainnet is still running the 0923 that I talked about last week. 0924 basically is a couple of housekeeping changes and improvements to the API that were requested by the exchanges or coin market cap that we're trying to work with. So there's basically 4 PRs in there in 0924. The 2907, 2909 are both related to making the API work, as well as changing the reporting Casper. I mean, it's called reporting Casper, but it's really reporting state change that to work with cost accounting. So that's those 2 PRs. And the other 2 PRs really are more in the one of them anyway, 2911 is a configuration related PR improvement, where if you pass any CLI command line parameters, it overwrites the value set in configuration file. What we're moving towards is to make sure that the configuration files are consistent, standardized for each network, and that that it's easy to restart the network or restart a node. So we're moving towards that, and this 2911 PR is to remove as many of the default values for CLI options as possible, so that basically the configuration file drives the settings for the node in that particular network, whether it is the test network or mainnet or sandbox or development. So that's what that is about. And the other 2910 is to eliminate the duplicate blocks during the Genesis ceremony. So what happens is, currently, the ceremony master would repeatedly broadcast candidate blocks, and the peers then are each having to validate each of these blocks that are triggered, even though they may have already processed that. So we kind of fixed that so that we don't have to process the duplicates. So those are the changes. I mean, relatively minor in scope, but besides that, besides what has been released in 0924, the team is working feverishly on some of the backlog items, or some of the, I would say, longer effort items. These are taking a while to get through, but this is being worked on. Improvements to the last finalized state. There is an initial draft that Tomislav put out, 2913 draft PR. And also what Tomislav has done is made it very nice and modular, so that multiple people can participate in doing different pieces of it. So NutZipper will also be tackling pieces of this. It's set up to be able to do that now. So that's going, you can take a look at 2913 right now, but it'll probably take a little bit of work before it's merged. Also, given that both the last finalized state PR as well as the merging work, tri-merge and all that we are looking to do. Those are all substantial effort. So we are on GitHub, we're working on a process whereby we would have multiple feature branches so that the developers can do their commits to those feature branches. And then eventually when a feature is complete, or at least we know that the feature is in a state where the changes will not conflict with the main dev branch, then we're going to merge that feature branch into the dev branch. So that's kind of what we're going to be doing. Some of these other things as to what we're working on, I already talked about. Merging is one, improvements to multi-parent Casper, sharding, and improvements to logging. Those are the ones in addition to the API changes needed or requested by exchanges. So we have so far worked with KuCoin and CoinMarketCap. There are a couple more exchanges wanting to participate, and they are passing on their requirements to us. So I think once we work with 2 or 3, whatever number of exchanges, we will be at a point where for a new exchange to come on board should not be a big deal, because by and large, we would have addressed the requirements they have, and anything new should be relatively minimal or none. So that's the anticipation at this point in time. Greg is working on Rolang 1.1 as a separate feature branch, like I described earlier. And that should improve the syntax and user experience and reduce the learning curve for folks coming on to Rolang. So those are the new parts to this. The rest of it that is down here is just basically I left it in there as to what is in 0923, because the main net is still running 0923. So if somebody needed a refresher of what's currently on the main net, that's there in that section. That's what I have to report. Does anyone have any questions, comments? Okay, over to you, Greg.
Thanks, Rao. The board had a meeting, a special meeting yesterday. The official board meeting is next Tuesday, and I believe that Steve Henley has got a draft agenda together. I'm not sure if it's been published yet, but it will be published shortly. I know people have been wanting to see the agenda before the board meetings. So look for that. We do have an interesting situation. KuCoin is working with a company called RChain that does user reviews. And they want to call their token Rev. I think they're unaware of the fact that the co-op holds a international, a global trademark on the Rev. And so we've informed KuCoin of that, and we are also in the process of getting the contact details for RChain, so we can inform them of that. But it is a fact that the cooperative does indeed hold an international trademark, and we sent them the data on the trademark, and so that they can review that and hopefully adjust accordingly. Otherwise, we will have to take further steps. But I don't think anyone wants to do that. There are many, many other better token names for RChain. We need to make sure that KuCoin also observes this legal requirement. Any questions on what I've said so far? Okay.
Well, at least we know it's a good name.
Yeah, exactly. We also wanted to mention that we had a great talk with a group called IMC last night, their morning, and there'll be some discussion about that in the closed door session. On Friday. We're also talking to other exchanges now. So we have the paperwork for a fairly large exchange, mostly filled out. We'll be revising that today and getting that in. So we should start to see more activity for the Rev token, the RChain Rev token on other exchanges as well. So any questions on any of that?
I actually had a quick question. Sorry, this is not really related, but is this the new room going forward for this call?
It is, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sorry about the late notice on that. I think we found out fairly.
Oh, that's fine, no problem.
Close to the time that we need to switch rooms, but it's done now. We also have we've got the new pitch deck in good shape, and it's being circulated amongst the other folks that we've been approaching. More on that on Friday, but thanks to all who participated in improving the pitch deck. Let's see, I think that's all we've got for today. I hope everyone is staying safe in the COVID-19 situation. I also want to say that I would like to organize a sort of in-place hackathon using RChain and DAPI, where RChain will pay out Rev for people who are interested in building dApps that support folks in need during the COVID-19 pandemic. So, for example, applications that help with the food delivery service to the elderly, or grocery delivery service to the elderly, tracking applications for mask supplies or ventilator supplies, anything like that, that people want to build using RChain and DAPI. The co-op will pay out significantly in terms of Rev. So we'll set up the parameters for that, probably get those published this week. But I do want to invite people who are interested and excited about building RChain to show that we can put RChain to work in service for those who are in need. Any questions on that?
Greg, I do have a question. Is it US only or worldwide?
Worldwide.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Okay. Unless there's other topics people want to discuss, we can yield back the time. Any burning questions people want to ask or issues people want to address? Going once.
The issue was brought up as to why, you would have to install an app to run DAPI. Couldn't we have a version of DAPI that would run in the browser?
We do. I was just talking about using DAPI as a foundation for building some dApps. You don't have to have an app to run DAPI. It runs in the browser now.
I think DAPI you have to install. It's an Electron app. You have to install it. You can't run it in the browser.
Oh, I see. Okay, well, maybe I misspoke then. I mean, you can.
Yeah,
Some
that's what we can
interesting.
do. We can do this offline. A
Yeah, we
version,
can.
a version that ran in the browser would be very nice.
Sure, of course. It gives it a bigger reach. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Awesome. Okay, folks. Well, thank you so much for your time. Stay safe, be well. Talk soon.